We only got 2 games on the card, so we're going to be thorough, but one starts in 15 minutes. Let's get it.
Yeah, I'm so fresh like the morning. Mouth wide open like they yawning. Every time they see me, they in G-Stride. Homie, this is too far. Homie, I feel too alive. You can see me like Illuminati. You can see me like Illuminati. But I'm trying to...
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to The Closing Line. Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. My name's Troy Torrence. I host the show every Tuesday and Thursday. And if there's 2 things you take away from what I'm able to bring, it is that the bookies aren't your enemy. They're your roadmap. Every line movement means something. Pay close attention. The second thing is control your emotions, which I'm trying to do right now. But we're going to have to come full circle back as to how my day's gone so far. We had a hell of a Tuesday. Once again, Tuesdays and Thursdays are by far my most profitable days. And I think it's because of the time I have to allocate towards the program. Anyways, we got a game that pops off in 14 minutes from now. So let's get right into it. We got to knock out this first game. Then we're going to come full circle back and talk about Tuesday, talk about the record on the show, talk about the pitfalls, talk about the cash cow that's cutting me open right now. But yeah, first game up, Cardinals, D-backs. So let's actually pull up this cash flow statement again. And it's been 50-50 pretty much all day long. On Odds Logic, earlier this morning, it was 59%, 77% of cash on St. Louis. And we're looking at a very similar cash flow to what we were looking at earlier. We're also looking at a market that came all the way down to minus 115, opened at minus 131, got down to minus 115. We're back at minus 123. The total opened 8, juice to the over. We're down to 7.5s, are starting to pop. You'll still see some 8s juice to the under, but we are seeing this market clearly moving towards the under. And if you look at the market history in this game, non-divisional home teams that open between minus 140, minus 120, close between minus 130, minus 115. You're looking at a great historical trend for the home team, 97 and 66 straight up. That's 60%. It also plays to the over. But then when you start accounting for this move to the under, the profile completely flips. The market moving towards the under is very, very bullish. It turns an over trend, what is a historically an over market, and you pop on that filter for a market moving towards the under, you see the trend completely flip and start stagnating heavily towards the under historically, which is really good. It interests me very much. It's very appealing looking at this move towards the under, especially because I moved on the under this morning. However, let's talk about this matchup. We got McGreevy on the mound, and this guy's a little bit perplexing. He's got a 1.1 whip, 2.92 ERA, but a 5.35 xERA. We've been talking about regression looming for this guy for how long now? But he just continues to pitch above expectations. He just pitched against Arizona, this very lineup. He went 6.1 innings. This is in Arizona, too, on the road. 6.1 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned. And that 1 earned run was from a solo shot. And he's been much better at home. 1.189 ERA and a 2.21 opponent batting average. And I love when these pitchers with low velo have such an efficient fastball. His fastball run value is in the 95th percentile. And you see the guys that are having success with the 4-seam, they're throwing it at the top of the zone. Then they have a pitch that drops out of the bottom of the strike zone. But this guy, McGreevy, is a guy who fills up the strike zone. He challenges batters, and maybe that's why his xERA is so high, because his BABIP is so favorable for him right now. But he's able to pitch deep into games because he is filling up that strike zone. I look at Arizona versus right-handed pitching, and there's some spots where they do have some explosive performances, but the data set in its whole, 25th on the season, they're 22nd since June 1st against right-handed pitching. I think our guy McGreevy is probably going to have another good start. Look at this market moving towards the under. You love to see that. McGreevy continues to pitch above expectations, and it looks like he might be able to continue that success. But this is another guy, low velo guy, very similar to McGreevy. He don't miss bats. He don't give out free passes, not a lot of walks, high ground ball rate. But he's a guy that I don't understand necessarily. I feel like I can't get him right. Whenever I bet on him, bet against him, it always seems to fall apart one way or the other. He has 6 pitches. This is something I usually don't like when I'm looking at a pitcher. 6 pitches, which are all used at over a 12% rate. So over 12% usage on 6 different pitches. It's just kind of hard to keep that to keep the sequencing in order. Like, I don't know if this is what I don't know about baseball. It's something like in the NFL for football, I'll be able to know why things are the way they are. whatever underlying numbers we're looking at. In this case, we're looking at the pitch usage, pitch mix, and I don't know what to think of it. Is he adjusting? Is he changing the pitches, changing the breaking pitches depending on the team he sees? Like, it's very confusing kind of when you're looking at that. I don't know why you would need 6 pitches and using them all over a 10% rate. You don't see that very often. The D-backs are a team that I want to fade when they're crossing the Mississippi. They're coming off 2 home series where they won 4 of 6 games, right? They took out St. Louis, they won 2 of 3. Then they took out the Athletics, they won 2 of 3. They're 3-4 straight up in the first game of a home to road series, but they're 0-3 straight up. 3 of those losses comes when they go east of the Mississippi, right? So when they start changing time zones, they start struggling. The 3 wins, San Francisco, San Diego, and Texas. I don't think this is a spot where they're going to travel very well. Then I look at the Cardinals after losing 4 of 6 on the road trip, right? Coming off a low, going home. They're still in the playoff mix. This is a very, very important series for both these teams. They basically lost both series. They went 4-6 or 4 out. They lost 4 out of 6 on the road trip. They won their final game 1-0 yesterday. And we were on St. Louis, and I'm going to be back on them today because if you look at what they've done coming home off a road trip this season, they have 1 loss. It was early in the season. It was against Milwaukee. Since then, they beat Arizona 3-2. They beat the Cubs 6-5. They beat the Kansas City Royals 5-4. 3 of those runs coming in extra innings. They beat the Dodgers 7-2, and they beat the Boston Red Sox 3-2. They're 5-1 straight up in this travel spot. So I really think it's a favorable spot for the St. Louis Cardinals. I think both starting pitchers can pitch well. I do like Pfaadt. What he's been able to do recently is very impressive, right? 21 total innings, 19 hits, 1 walk, 5 earned against San Francisco, San Diego. The Dodgers are in there, and the Cardinals. So I do think, and this is where I get a little tricky, right? Am I a little bit biased from what we've seen out of these lineups? I don't think so, because usually when I see these pitchers that are seeing the same team back-to-back starts like we're seeing with Pfaadt and McGreevy, I kind of want to stay away from it. I share a lot of the sentiment that we talk about here. Jimmy talks about that sentiment almost every time we see the spot. I'm sure he covered it today. I was extremely busy. Like, you kind of want to expect the opposite to happen in those starts, but looking at how strong this market is moving towards the under, how strong the market history is for the under in this price range, it's unavoidable to not move on the Cardinals money line -118. I love the 50-50 splits that I'm getting on Action Network. It's great. It tells me the public shops are running hot on Arizona Diamondbacks, which makes a ton of sense. You think about where the public sits looking at these two teams, and I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of Diamondback sentiment based on what they've done, some of the big names they have on their roster. But I moved more heavily on the under. I got the first 3 under 2.5 at -112. So I don't even know what that price looks like right now. But I got the first 3 under 2.5 -112. I got the first 5 under 4.5 -110 that I added because a buddy of mine, a guy in the Discord, did not have access to the first 3. So out of a good measure, I had to bet the first 5 so that I have the same exposure as my community. So that's how I'm playing it, man. Don't sell me down the river. What we got in the chat? We got Josh. What's up, Troy family? Jimmy, what's up, brother? Jimmy's in chat, huh? Jimmy, Arizona, St. Louis, first 3 under 2.5. He got the +100. He's got the +100. What a beautiful thing. And he's staying away from the first 5s, too. I don't know what to do with totals. And this is where I could kind of go. Let's go for a full circle back now. Let's talk about what happened last Tuesday. So I've sent you over, Vic. You got the graphic. I ended up for the shows not this graphic. Yes, sir, this graphic. So this is the card that I gave out. They've got the plays in yellow I gave out after the show. The market stayed in good standing, and I added to my positions on the Cubs money line, Angels first 5 money line. Those are not going to be counted towards my record. Everything else is. I ended up winning 3.42 units on Tuesday. We had a great show. Braves was really the only blemish. Everything else was kind of, in range of hitting, if not, outside of what's in purple at the very bottom. So why did I highlight those purple plays? If you go back and rewatch the show and how I talked about every game on the Tuesday card, all those games, these were the last bets I made, right? This is the order in which I made the bets. You'll see it on screen. The Blue Jays money line, the Twins money line, and the Mariners were the very last bets I made. They all lost. They were all highly predicated on the market. I had some matchup notes for the Mariners, but the Twins and the Blue Jays were strictly market related. And this is where I need to be more disciplined. And when I do have a strong market and I want to place a bet based on the market alone, I just got to step back and think about a day like this. And it's been happening a lot where the matchup does not offer support to a favorable market environment, and I take a loss. And those are those 3 plays, all 3 losses. So plus 3.42 units. And that's our first winning show in July. And we haven't had many losing shows. So we had 3 losing shows in a row to start off July. Now we put up a plus 3.42 on the board. It's a beautiful thing. And this show has just been a blessing because we've been destroyed, man. We're plus 35.49 units on the show, which is a beautiful thing. And I look at my season in its entirety. And I just made a post right before I went live on the show. No, you don't have to pull up this graphic. There's no more graphics for this last statement. But this is a crazy way to look at my season. When I look at the P&L, P&L of my season, the profit loss statement, what do I see? I see the Dodgers and Yankees run down 73 units. I won 1 and I lost 1 back on the Dodgers-Yankees series. I had on all my totals, overs and unders, first 5, team total, anything like that, any total bet, I'm down 40 units. So I'm down 40 on totals. I'm down 73 on Yankees and Dodgers, and I'm up 89 units on everything else. It nets me out to down about 18 units on the season. It's I have so much volume in my betting history this season. 1,588 units wagered. So I have a minus 1.24% ROI. And it's just been an absolute roller coaster. Today I had the Braves in the cash cow spot, which I know a lot of you probably backed, but we had the first 5. We had the money line parlay with the Tigers tonight, game we're about to talk about in depth. Man, it's just I was really struggling today to keep my emotions in check when the Braves gave up that lead in the 8th inning. Really, really painful way to lose the run line because the cash cow has been the Dodgers, the Yankees. Why I'm down 73 units? It's because of the cash cow market. A lot of it is. And it's a pain for me to know that I've given back so much profits in that market environment that I made, throughout since 2023 when I started betting that market initially. It's just so painful. But that's my power trip. With that being said, before we head over to the Tigers game, what do we got? What do we got in chat? Anybody on this? What about Cardinals? Is anybody on this Cardinals spot? Anybody Cardinals under? I know, Jimmy, you got the first 3 full game under. We had the same sentiment, man. I was a little bit late to the party on the first 3 under. Bottom of the 9th, bets. What's good, man? What's good? AZ money line. You got Arizona. I like the unders the best, but I do think the Cardinals fit a good profile, and I don't like the travel spot for the Arizona Diamondbacks coming off those wins. No, Josh, it's too expensive. I see minus 135 right now for first 3 under 2.5. Minus 135. You're talking about 57% implied odds. I mean, if I would be able to speak to the full game total, and I would say that the full game total makes more sense because I know it's a historically still a favorable bet and you're not paying a lot of juice. Even under the 7.5, you're still looking at him. I mean, this is where the market moving towards the under is at 64% efficient, 64%. And the market moving towards the under also, even despite the movement towards the road team in the Cardinals game, it only improves the profile for the home team. This is a profile where the home team thrives. And if you look at the history, the sample that I have for this, it's very applicable games. Like you look at the teams on this, the Tigers, the Rangers, the Padres, the Mariners, like the Twins. Like these are teams, the middle of the road type of teams, exactly where we expect these 2 teams to be where they are right now. I love the market in this spot. I got 2.5 units invested, got the Cardinals money line, got the first 3 under, got the first 5 under in this spot. Cards first 5 money line for me. Come on, Colin. That makes me want to get exposure to the first 5. Actually, let's take a peek at the first 5. Let's see if there's any discrepancies in the line movement on the first 5 market, because that could be interesting. All right, first 5. Well, full game, first of all. And I look at Bovada to try to gauge this split. Open minus 128. We got 5 cents of line movement. Exactly right. This is actually working out perfectly from a full game standpoint. First 5. We're looking at they open much bigger, minus 135. They're minus 125. So it kept the same split. Yeah, I'm just full game cards. All right, let's go. Let's go. We got 15 minutes in. We got 15 minutes for the next spot, too. Tigers, Royals. Josh Witt. I only have Fanatics right now because I have to save money, not working. I have to take care of my wife right now. Josh, you got to take care of business. I actually, man, I went through that massive downswing that I had earlier in the season. The pipes burst in my house. Just all these bills start hitting at once. The bills started piling up. My bankroll shrunk. Then I took another $5,000 chunk on my bankroll to help pay down some debt for all this nonsense that we got going on right now. I feel for you, man. I feel for you. Only Fanatics right now. So I didn't ever even been on Fanatics. I've never even been on Fanatics. Is that like what they do at Underdog, where it's like player props and you can only do parlays and stuff like that, Josh? Just my 2 cent. Thanks, Jimmy. Nice to win after my All-Star break. Didn't like much today, but looking at Thursday right now. Today is Thursday. Talking about Friday. Okay, let's see what Jimmy's got for Detroit. So let's go. You can put up the header for Detroit and the Royals. Jimmy the Bag. He's on first run. What is this? Detroit to score the first run minus 109. What the hell is that? What markets you looking at, Jimmy? What's going on? Detroit first 5 minus a half. I got the same line, but I paid a little bigger price. What did I get on this first 5? I got minus 148. That's that night show. That's that night show, Troy Melton. I know Jimmy the Bag likes Troy Melton. He saw that price. He's like, man, it's going to be a cash cow by the morning. Detroit full game minus 139. Wow. Atlanta, Detroit plus 107. Oh, Jimmy, I love you, my guy. I love you. That's how you bet a cash cow right there. That's how you bet a cash cow. All right. Tigers, Royals. So this is no surprise to see. We're looking at all the cash, all the bets, all the sentiment coming in on the Detroit Tigers, and that's exactly what I want to see because that only improves the cash cow profile. Detroit opened minus 199. They got up to minus 205. Had a cup of coffee, as JTB would say. Then it started climbing. And it really hasn't stopped climbing until about an hour ago. And then you've seen a little bit of a 5-cent buyback, but that's nothing. We're still looking at almost a 40-cent move on the Detroit Tigers. Total opened at 8.5. And it's still pretty much that. It's a pretty stagnant market on the total, which doesn't bother me. And I do have a graphic for this game. I find it to be very fascinating. And I actually got to pull this back up now here too, just because so I can see it as big as I need to on my screen. So if we're looking at this graphic, what am I looking at? Well, I did expand the price range a little bit because we're looking at a divisional team, right? So you're going to, by using the divisional filter, they're going to be cutting the sample down. We want a decent sample. So we're going to be grabbing from a wide range here. Divisional home favorites between minus 260 and minus 210 with the market moving towards the home team. How's it performed historically? Well, let's look by total range. And this is where I think it's very important in how you can interpret markets moving forward. And this is the value that I could bring. This is one of the reasons why you say you watch this show is because of information like this. You look at the distribution of the total range, 7, 7.5, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, and 10 plus. And you could see the samples, 21, 35, 22. The money line percentages, all pretty good. The run line, all pretty good. The under, you see the trends towards the under. But what I want to say is, why is the 8 to 8.5, why is that performing head and shoulders above and beyond the other total ranges? Well, I think it makes sense logically. Think about it. You get a 7 and 7.5 total. You're still getting implications from the books that the road pitcher is going to pitch well in this market or in this game, right? The road pitcher could pitch well, which also reduces the run line. Home team's ability to cover the run line because there's less volatility. You look at the 9.5 range. Now you're talking about there's too much volatility, and you can see where the run line is. That's actually a little bit surprising, a little bit counterintuitive when you look at the 7.5 between 9.5 and 10 on the run line. But it just shows you that at 9, 9.5, and 10 plus, the home team's pitcher is vulnerable too. Yes, he's in a better situation where he could perform well, but he's also more vulnerable. The 8 and 8.5 is the sweet spot, is the absolute sweet spot when you're looking at the cash cow profile. It's the sweet spot because what this is telling me is that one pitcher is going to pitch well, one pitcher is not going to pitch well. That's what that's telling me. I chose to include the by season graphic on the bottom because I think it's pretty important to be able to call out. I had the wrong lines highlighted here. I should have highlighted the 2026 line You can see they're still winning 70% of the time, but the run line is all the way down to 35%. This season, cash cows, for whatever reason, just have not been able to perform. They have not been performing. But what do we, overall in this market, you could take the graphic down now. I think I hit it enough. Overall, what this market is telling me is that we need to be on the Detroit Tigers in this situation where I'm not like thinking, oh, now it's time to buy back on the other side. I don't think so. What do we got? Mustafa Hakim. Troy, what's your favorite player? My favorite baseball players, I got to say, I only have one team I'm truly a fan of, and it's the Chicago Cubs. And this is across all sports. Like, I really don't have a team that I'm a fan of season in and season out. I might latch onto the Cleveland Browns or something like that, but it's the Chicago Cubs. So I'm going to have to go with Pete Crow Armstrong, who I think is the best outfielder baseball's ever seen. The Detroit Tigers, more like the Detroit Tigers. The Detroit Tigers. Let's go. And Troy Melton is on the mound. And Troy Melton, I know we share a first name, but I have no biases towards this guy other than the fact that he's filled my pockets with a lot of winning tickets. 0.87 whip, 1.80 ERA, and a 3.03 xERA. He has 9 starts on the season, 2 starts with no runs, 5 starts with 1 run, 1 start with 2 runs, and 1 start with 4 runs. And that 1 start where he gave up 4 runs, it was his first home start of the season after 3 road starts. And if you remember back, I believe it was a Tuesday or Thursday, because I remember being very hard and fading him when you have 3 consecutive road starts. And this is actually an angle that I took from Jimmy the Bag and put it into my arsenal, because I think it's very important to know when you're getting that change of scenery, when you get into that rhythm and you're doing the same thing, especially as a starting pitcher, everything is so formal, like your day-to-day, everything's so planned out. It's so structured that when you start breaking structure and it's just a new feeling, and it was for him. He got beat. He got hit up that game. So I give him a little bit of a break. I think that this guy's pitched incredible. We backed him a ton. And why have we backed him a ton is because he fits all the criteria I want to see when I bet on a starting pitcher. His fastball usage is around 50%, four seam plus sinker. His fastball run value, 94th percentile. He's also got the fastball sinker cutter in his bag. So he's got the 3-pitch combo that I like to see. The one that breaks into the right hitter, away from the right-handed hitter, and then the fastball up in the zone. And he's got a splitter in his bag, which is also a meta that I talk about frequently on here. But he doesn't really throw that pitch competitively. At least the spray chart doesn't indicate that he does. And neither does the expected numbers or the actual numbers on that pitch. But I do still think, other than, for the most part, everything just ties out with Troy Melton. Every single way you could look at him. He's elite versus both left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters. At home or on the road, just any way you slice this, any way I look at this kid, fundamentally, it's a guy we want to back. And he's not a well-known name, but that might be going out the window now that he's priced at minus 232. Kansas City versus right-handed pitching, they're 14th since June 15th. 14th since June 15th, which is about 1,000 plate appearances. And they're 20th on the season. We know this Kansas City lineup is Jekyll and Hyde. You never know what you're going to get, but most times it's going to be subpar. On the other side, so you got Troy Melton on the mound for one team. You got Dobnik on the mound for the other team. And this is a guy that I think is in a perfect fade spot here. Only 3 appearances on the season. He's got a 1.5 whip with a 1.93 ERA. You know what that says. Regression's coming. He's got a 5.60 xERA. His only road start was at the New York Mets, 5.2 innings, 3 hits, 3 walks, no earned. So he had a really good outing. But again, that was when the Mets were the Mets. I guess they're always the Mets. And honestly, the Mets have actually been one of my most profitable teams since 2023 that I've just found out. And so have the Phillies, that division. Maybe I should just be betting that division. But if you look at Dobnik, his pitch mix, he got the sinker, the sweeper, which accounts for maybe 70% of his pitches. You look at his arm angle at 21 degrees, and obviously it's not surprising to see the high usage of sinker sweeper. Like, I feel like that this arm angle pairs well, but this is an old meta. This used to be meta, the sinker sweeper with the sidearm. This used to be meta. It no longer is. Teams have caught on to that. They know how to attack it. The 5.60 too, the 5.60 xERA is real. And I feel like more now than ever, it has to be considered, because if you look back at what Dobnik has done historically throughout his career, you got to go back to when he's pitched a full season, 7.64 ERA, 6.81 xERA. He started off that season good as well. That was in 2021. He's pitched 154 innings throughout his career. That's it, 154. And he has a 13.7% K rate. This guy don't miss bats. I know Detroit versus right-handed pitching, they're about league average pretty much any time frame you look at, but you know since July 1st, they've been uptrending against both right-handed and left-handed pitching. Royals coming off winning 5 of their last 6 games. 5 of their last 6. Coming out of the All-Star break, it couldn't be a better scenario for the Royals, right? Winning 5 of 6 games, but we're talking about the Giants and the Padres. It's not impressive. Royals in the first game of a home-to-road series, they're 4-5 straight up. I just think that this is a perfect spot to look to fade them. And even in those 5 wins that they had, it's not like their offense was really explosive. And honestly, it was the opposite. It was the opposite. The Tigers coming off a 4-2 road trip. They just beat the Chicago Cubs. They took out the Angels in a road trip. They're 6-3 in the first game home after a road series. I've been betting this game all day. I got the Tigers first 5 -0.5 for -148. Do I endorse it still at like -155, -160? Yes, I do. Maybe you leave the -0.5 alone. Take a -1, lay the juice. I did that today with the Braves, and I cashed that one. I got the Tigers Braves first 5 money line parlay +106. I got the Tigers -1.5 for +100. I got the Royals team total under for 3 and under 3.5 -135. I got the Royals first 5 team total under 1.5 -120. You ask me why? Now I'm going to poke holes in my own self here. So why am I betting the cash cow when it's been so dreadful this season? Why am I betting these team total unders when I'm down 40 units? Like I'm just massive. This action that I have in this Tigers game, if you base it off what I did this season, 2026, you'd be like, fade Troy immediately. Go buy on the Royals. But at the same time, you look back since 2023, and I'm still certainly in the black when it comes to the cash cow profile. And when it comes to totals, it might not be the case. So maybe it's the Royals team total over, parlayed with the Tigers -1.5. I'm just kidding, man. I was kind of struggling a little bit because of the Braves cash cow and just treading water right now as I try to make my push back into the black here, which I do believe we're going to do by the end of the season. I'm highly committed to closing this season on a positive note because I haven't had a losing MLB season since 2021. Come on now. Let's go. Let's get into gear. It's more important now than ever to get these wins. I'm in line with you, Troy. Let's go. Melton and the Tigers. Let's go. I hope everyone's riding with me because I do. I saw it right away this morning that the Tigers were the best bet on the slate. I wish I seen it as early as Jimmy the Bag did. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up with the closing line for today, July 23rd, 2026. As always, man, I'm so appreciative for anyone that's in here showing support, showing love, riding these cash cows, fucking bottom of the ocean with me. I appreciate that. I hope you're riding everything else because that's balancing out the equation. And, I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday, coming armed to the teeth with as much information that I think is valuable. I try to leave out the information I don't think is valuable. I try to narrow it down to what's valuable. Now, there's always going to be some fat that I could cut, lean it up a little bit. But I get a little too talkative, get lost in my feelings. It's hard to be non-emotional in this game. But that's where I was today. The ups and downs, the roller coasters. I hope you're ready to ride because I am. I've been grinding my ass off trying to get to the black this season. And I'm going to continue doing so. And I've been grinding my ass off today. I say it every Tuesday and Thursday since 5 a.m. I've been glued to this fucking chair. I haven't moved, looking for the bread, looking for value. And I feel like I delivered with the Cardinals under the Tigers tonight. It's time, man. Time to go out, watch our investments flourish. Good capping. Good luck. And I'll see your ass on Tuesday. Peace.
It's easier to sleep in the black when you're losing your ass and feeling so. You know what to do. Tune in to Pop Sports Radio. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's a roller coaster ride. You're gonna catch a bad beat. No problem. can keep your head up and just bet the spreadsheet. It's easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. All thanks to Jeff Slaughter, these shows have our backs. POD's always rolling, especially the stats. Easier to sleep in the black. It's easier to sleep in the black. We got Jimmy, Jose, Debbie and the fam, Dutch wine time, Spooner and OG Wham. So hit the like button, don't say that you can't. If you know what's best, just put your money on tape.